Hey, wait, you can't stop putting it on Twitter, man. Because you're not. Twitter don't work no more. Can't go live on Twitter unless you pay for it.
Damn. Oh, okay. Real shit. Gotcha.
Yeah, I meant to tell you that earlier. Elon be fucking us up. Did the intro not play?
It did.
We're up.
We are.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, we are. The intro played? It didn't play on my end. Well, shit. All right. Well, welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers, everybody. I am your host, Bodkins. You know how it is, how it be around here. Great technical difficulties. As always, man, it is our UFC 306 Noche.
uh-oh. Well. I mean, we're gonna keep it going. I think Marcus was just about to say it's our UFC 306 post-fight recap. Bruh, last Saturday was a night. There was so much going on all at one time, and then we got some really big announcements. I think Marcus will probably start with the beginning, like the Sphere as a whole, like as the setting. Bobby, I remember last week on the show, you were talking and you were like, they're going to show a movie. They're going to have some really intricate things going on. There's going to be like a side scroll. You had like all kinds of descriptions, but even what you described, I think, was topped by what actually was shown to us in our homes, and probably looked even more crazy live and in person. Tell me what you think of the Sphere as an event venue for UFC 306, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think it completely delivered. The prelims, I was a little bit worried because I think they were going out of their way to kind of hold everything back for the pay-per-view. But yeah, once that actual pay-per-view started, I think they just hit it out the park. The way they did the announcements in the cage, and they'd have like the big fighter like standing over them and stuff with the background. It was just very unique and something they don't normally do. So, on that aspect, I completely thought it delivered. The time did not really bother me. It kind of just flew by. I didn't feel like there was really any filler in it. Granted, by like the fourth story or something, it was kind of like, okay, I want to kind of get more into the fights. But I think visually and everything, it absolutely delivered on that main card. And, I see some people saying, damn, they wasted a bunch of money. And Don Davis claiming he's putting an equal amount of money into the PFL pay-per-view. I say, fuck all that noise. I think they hit it out the park.
Yeah. Bakins, I know you just blacked out, and welcome back. So
Yeah,
I just asked him about the Sphere. Do you know how do you like it?
Yeah, that was going to be my point right off the bat. Great minds think alike. Before we got into anything, just the Sphere as a total, I thought visually it was great. I felt like the fights are even getting. I thought the fight, both the main event and co-main, I didn't think they were awful. They were getting shit on by Dana White himself. Like he said, he hopes everybody shut it off before the co-main. It did go a long time. It was a long night. But I felt like that was kind of be expected. I mean, there's a bunch of decisions, but the first three fights I thought were like really good. But the Sphere as a whole, the stories, everything else, like once you got the prelims, I didn't feel like did anything. Like it felt like just a weird spot to be in. I equivalent it to, I think I told you, both of you guys, it was like Mortal Kombat. Watching every fight, it felt like we were going into a different world in Mortal Kombat. And that's exactly what I thought. It was a great visual aspect. Brendan Schaub, he kind of nailed it on the head, though, to me a little bit. Was like, it's like Rainforest Cafe, where it looks cool and it sounds cool, but the actual event, like the meat on it, the appetizer, the meal wasn't very good. So I thought I liked it. I thought they killed it. Even the fights. It is what it is. I thought the Merab O'Malley fight kind of went exactly how if Merab, that's how he was going to win. I was a little disappointed in the Grasso Chevy fight, but Chevy got her belt back, and that's how she had to win. It's mixed martial arts, and two people didn't, learn how to do takedown defense, or they couldn't stop a takedown in those fights. So, but that's kind of my initial thoughts, man. I don't think it's a one-time thing. I think they got to go back. Dana kind of refuted that a little bit and said, they go someplace else for Noche because him and MGM Grand got into it and everything else. So, but yeah, what about you? What was your initial thoughts of just the Sphere?
Yeah, first off, you know what I'm saying, big shouts out. We probably put in like hours and hours of work to make that event look great. I mean, in my mind, you know how like you go to a football game and there's a jumbotron on both ends of the field, so you're not really missing any of the action. I loved that aspect. You were texting me just when I was looking at the screen, and I was thinking this looks exactly like that scene in Mortal Kombat 2 where like Thailand is being torn apart and the emperor is about to come and he's like, I want to take your soul or something. But I think that was cool. I mean, for other things that I've got a chance to like Google and look at, experiences in the Sphere. Like if you want to go see a fight, that is what you want the production to look like. Was the card what we wanted it to be? No. Raul Rosas, got everybody into it with the cheers at the very beginning. I was like, yeah, nah, this is
that fight though was underwhelming. It was underwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. I was like
that fight. You know what I mean?
But for the rest of the card, the main card, the story of Mexico, the fighters, and all of that great stuff, I thought that was really over the top and really done well. I'm hoping that in the end, they somehow, some way figure out to do it again. And to me, the main events didn't all of a sudden turn into something spectacular because they were exactly what I thought they were going to be. The main card and the main and the co-main turned exactly into what I thought they was going to be. And shout out to the and new on both sides of the co-main and the main.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. And really, it's Dana's, like Dana wants to bitch about this, but he's the one that put the card together. It wasn't a deep card. You're the one that had these fights. You got the Salt Lake card stacked. It's the Mormons are getting a hell of a card down in Utah next month, Bobby, but this card, it was thin.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you covered a lot there. I want to go back to something regarding Brendan Shaw. I thought that rainforest thing was kind of funny and on point, but at the same time, I don't think he like understood what the point of it was. Like, because he literally was like this is the same guy that complains about having to tune into the Apex every fucking Saturday, and then he says, "Oh, just give me a stacked Apex card over this." Like, I mean, I get that, like, at a certain point you have to like make content. So he's probably going with the hot, spicy thing on a Monday there. But like that kind of made me giggle. Like the whole idea of, oh, if you like this, you need this in your fighting, you're deluded. Like, no, I'm just used to watching all these events and they all feel the same. It was nice to have something different. Yeah. To the point, I didn't even realize the drain on the card. The prelims, that second fight, I think it was, with Joshua Van, like that was a great fight. Van was looking in trouble in that first round and then just came back and, that was a pretty good fight. The Rojas fight definitely showed me that, he's young, so he's got a lot of time to advance, but he currently has a ceiling at the moment. So, but the card itself,
I think he asked for a top. I don't know if he asked for a top 15 guy, but he's not ready. He's not ready for that yet.
I was kind of surprised when I realized the matchup that they had actually had him with. Because, when we did our show last week, I didn't look too much into the card. I just knew he was first on the card. And I was, kind of surprised. I didn't really think that was a gimme fight. So, to his credit, he got it done. But, yeah, when you start getting to the ranked opponents, it's going to be pretty interesting. But he's young. He's got a lot of room to grow. But, the main fight on the prelims with that cut, that fight sure as hell delivered. Dumont's game plan with the foot.
Oh yeah, the Irene Aldana fight, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like when I went back and because I got the pay-per-view, so I went back and watched the whole thing. Like normally I'll just watch, each fight where it has it queued up, to when they're in the cage. No, I watched the whole thing. So I don't know if I just have a bigger attention span than Brendan Schaub, but I thought it was done fairly well. We knew what we were signing up for, and didn't fall asleep during it.
So, and I'm gonna get behind you on this one, right? I heard the Brandon Schaub comment, and I'm from the South. I don't know if y'all ever been to this place, but it made me think of one thing. What's it called? When they do the night fighting, the nights come out and they feed you dinner. Is that the same thing as Rainforest Cafe?
Oh, yeah. Medieval times.
Thank you. Yeah. Medieval times. I remember Medieval Times was fire. Okay, I only went once. My mom and dad took me. It probably cost way more money than it was worth. But like after the spectacle happened, and then I got some chicken. Come on, bro. I don't know what Rainforest Cafe is, but I wasn't mad at it. I think that for let's say an experimental fight card, let's say, like that's that. But now that they know what they can do with the Sphere, with the entertainment, with the value. Like if they revisit the Sphere in 2025 or 26, the card will be stacked to the point where it'll be reminiscent of something like.
Can we get like an Independence Day card?
Yeah, like something that they hype up a little. I mean,
I think somebody said it on Ariel's show. Like a Independence Day card.
Dana's got the Noche fever. He wants to take it to like Mexico, New Mexico, Texas.
Yeah.
He seems pretty hell bent on not bringing that event back to Vegas because of the MGM. Like you could tell he was still salty in the Contender Series press conference. Like he was all happy the Saturday press conference,
Yeah.
But then I think after that come down, he's like, nah,
I think he's naturally surly. He doesn't. What is it when he doesn't have his what is the stuff that they eat? The vitamin something mind. When he doesn't have those, he's turned off. He's completely like that.
Like I don't think if we are
fucking Fridays
another Sphere. Like I personally don't think we are going to see another one. And if for some reason we do, it's going to kind of come out of nowhere, and he's going to use it like the BMF title to like sell us something on a pay-per-view. But I think he kind of likes the one and done aspect because it was when you hear him complaining about the work, it was a lot of work. And I'd be interested to see if because Endeavor is partnered with WWE, like if they took an event there, I could see the UFC, him getting his ego back and being like, oh, no, let's do it. But until I see another one go there, I think he'll kind of just use it at the one and done. And fortunately, next week is in Paris, and we got a little bit of time until we're back in our favorite place. But not if you watch Contender Series.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Next week's Paris, ain't it? Next week's Paris. Not this weekend, but next week.
Saying, fortunately,
this weekend. Next weekend's in Paris.
Yeah. Next weekend's in Paris.
Yeah.
Like when I watched Contender Series yesterday, Like, I love Contender Series, but the environment of being back, like, that's pretty much the only time I'll tolerate the Apex is when it's there. But like, it was still like a whoa, going from the sphere of this is wild. So we just gotta appreciate what we got, because literally we're never gonna see it again, and we're back to the repetitive lazy Susan. But that fight card in October in Abu Dhabi is so stacked. So I get Bakken's point about this one feeling light, but I think they did a good job filling it out with young Mexican talent. Even though, other than Rojas Jr., Mexico had a pretty rough night, unfortunately.
Yeah, basically, extremely rough night. In my mind, the only other big name, Ignacio won. That was another one, and then somehow, some way, Ronaldo Rodriguez was a big win for me in my mind. Because he pretty much pretty much dominated that one. But somehow, some way, if we can figure out a way to convince them, somebody will do something. They'll start up a poll or a petition or something like that just to see if it'll happen. But I'm telling you, revenue wise, if he doesn't do it on a day where one of the biggest boxing spectacles is taking place, then the money and the generation of eyes on the product will be pretty much where he wants it to be. And I think that was the issue. It was on Noche Latina night. Canelo was at the MGM, and we'll talk about that a little later. And it stole from what I think the Sphere was supposed to be if it was just a single solitary thing going on in Vegas that weekend. But in my mind, hopefully, we'll get a chance to see whoever put that production on get like an Emmy or something or an ESPY because they deserve it. That was that was a spectacle. That's straight up.
Yeah, that lazy boy fight was
You mentioned we talked about the spear already. Let's wait. You mentioned at the top and new Marab is the new bantamweight champion. Wait, you called it. You're the one that called and new last week. Your guys' thoughts on the title fight? Everybody seems. I thought personally that Sean didn't seem like he was himself. It's been reported now that torn labrum and he's out. Going to have surgery. Your guys' thoughts on the fight?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I know what he was about to say. What's our thoughts on the fight? So for me, I'm thinking about it. Well, like once again, everybody knows I do the heart and my brain thing. When I use my brain, the whole idea of what was supposed to happen is pretty much how it went. Bobby, like your opinion, what do you think really was the outcome, or what do you think people thought was going to be the outcome of Marab and Sean O'Malley?
I mean, I think you said it perfectly with using your brain, because I did not use my brain in picking this fight. I kind of went back off the last performance, seeing how hittable Marab was, and kind of thought that there was a chance that, oh yeah, O'Malley could do it again. When normally in the past I would do, I normally go with the wrestler because that he's going to probably dominate the fight and eventually be able to, implement his game plan. But, typically, as far as the performance of Marab goes, I thought it was perfect. He pretty much had, in the first round, he was very good at moving around and not getting hit. Um, he was, not really staying in one place. He waited till about 3.5 minutes in to take that first takedown, which I found to be very impressive. But also at the same time, it seemed to be a little bit calculated because, once he hit that shot, he kind of knew what he was doing and he kept the pressure going. So, you know, all in all, you got to hand it off to Murad. It was pretty cool when I was watching the fight. Um, I had someone come through that was actually from Georgia, and she, found out the fight was happening, and apparently her mother went outside the sphere and held out the Georgian flag, and then went home because surprise, surprise, the UFC priced, the event out to where, she couldn't go. But that was a pretty wild experience. Is watching this lady that's normally extremely reserved and very church-like, and she was just going wild. It was like me or you watching the fight. And, to see that happen, that was pretty cool. And, I gave pretty much O'Malley, you could make an argument to where he got the third and the fifth round. But also, if you wanted to say it was a clean sweep, I really have no problem with it. O'Malley was able to get up quite a bit. So though he did look a bit sluggish and kind of slow to get going, I really feel after that first takedown happened, it really got him shook and kind of closed him up even more. Because even in that first round, when Merab was standing with him for like 3.5 minutes, I mean, credit Merab was moving around, so he was able to not get hit. But he was making it very hard for Sean to find his shots and hit him. So master performance by Merab, and shout out to Ray Longo for getting another champion.
Yeah, and I think you summed it up really well. Bakins, man, welcome back. You asked the question. I think you were just about to ask us our thoughts on the main. So tell us what's up, bro.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. I thought Sean looked very sluggish. I didn't feel like he was himself. I felt even there was something when he was walking out. I just felt like just watching him. I felt like there was something off about him all night. Bobby, I had Merab 5-0, maybe 4-1. Sean maybe got the fifth. He seemed like he had hurt Merab a couple times, but even then, I didn't understand why Sean just didn't try to go in and blitz him when he hurt him to the body, and try to get the finish. Even Tim said, "Hey, we're almost out of here. Like we're almost done." So that was kind of weird coaching. I felt like I just felt like there was something off about Sean, and like I said, he allegedly has an injury now, torn labrum. He said it happened before the fight, but also did give his props to Merab. Said, no, no excuses. It is what it is. He beat me, and Merab is the middleweight champ. People are shitting on this fight, but that's how Merab wins fights. Like he wasn't going to finish him. He's not going to finish him.
I don't understand why people are shitting on it. Like, I could understand if they went to the T-Mobile Arena and expected to see a boxing match, but it's MMA. And like, I'm sorry, if you didn't know that was Merab's game plan, I really don't know what to tell you. Like,
that's what I didn't understand. I said the people who are bitching about this fight or complaining about this fight, they've never watched a Merab fight, because that's exactly how a Merab fight fights. Like that's look at his 9-10 winning streak now. Like every one of his fights is exactly that.
It's 11, right?
Dramatic improvements with his striking.
Yeah,
because a big reason I went O'Malley's way is I saw that Henry fight, and he was a lot more hittable. And this time he was rolling with the shots and not getting hit with them, and just not really giving Sean a target to hit in general.
Well, I don't think Sean threw enough either. That was my biggest
absolutely.
takeaway.
And I was gonna go into that because you guys hit the nail on the head for me. I think, because you said that he might have had that injury before. So just for scientific purposes. So here we go. A torn labrum is an injury to the cartilage that lines the hip or the shoulder joint socket and helps keep the joint aligned and lubricated. So it's something I know when people talk about quarterbacks from football. You tear a labrum, you can't throw a football forward. So I can only imagine how that affects punching when we see that, O'Malley's a sniper with the striking. So I don't know how he could have put combinations together with his labrum torn. And then at the same time, I saw a lot of what I think Watkins just said. What Merab does is his gas tank is heavy. He's holding you down, but he's not taking advantage of position as if to finish you. You know, even the back kissing. The back kissing. Where's a brush choke or something?
That was the best part of the
Where's
fight.
an arm bar, a triangle? Where's the he had his back like for 4 or 5 minutes, in my opinion, throughout the fight. No attempts at any type of submissions. It was just aggravating. And you know, I think about, you know, Dana White's worst nightmare, which is you got Merab as a champ, you got Islam as a champ, you got Khabib teaching everybody how to be annoying and wrestle. Like, where is the excitement of a championship fighter right now? In what division? We really don't know. It's maybe heavyweight, and you know, we got Ilya coming up too. Shout out to Georgia, you know, happening soon with Max Holloway, but the wrestling aspect of the UFC is kind of coming back into the frame, you know, it's crazy.
You're exactly right. With like I was gonna say Dana can't be happy with the last 2 pay-per-view, or I guess 3 pay-per-views, right? Or we had Bilal win. Was that last month? Did Bilal win? Was that last month?
Bilal was last month.
Yeah, Bilal, heavy wrestler. Now you have Merab, heavy wrestler. You know, so all the strikers are getting taken out, and the exciting fights. You know, the exciting people are being taken out. Now, Islam's a heavy wrestler, but seems like he's willing to stand and bang before he gets to the wrestling, and you know, his fights seem to be exciting. So, you know, I don't want to discredit him, but yeah, it seems like Dana is not too happy. You know, Merab's a great character, though, great person, I feel like, and it's got some potential, but I think it is real quick. I think it's for you guys. It's Umar next. Umar and Merab. We're on agreement there.
Yeah, it wasn't enough of a showing to throw a rematch out there immediately.
No, there's no rematch. There's
no. So yeah, Umar is what makes sense, and I think somehow the Umar Merab is like a cancel out, like, you know, like,
that's
gonna
be a
negative
fun fight,
and negative. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 wrong ends of a 9-volt battery touching and stuff. So I'm excited to see how that'll work. But somebody will accidentally get a chin shot and knock the other guy out, in my opinion.
So going back to Dana being mad, I honestly think he could give a shit because he's so happy about the success of the Sphere. If anything, Saturday proved to me they don't need stars because they are the star.
Yeah,
and that's what the Sphere showed us.
Yeah.
And you know, there'll be 20 different assholes that can dye their hair a color and win the title. So you know, they'll keep turning them in and out. And you know, my number one, other than the Ilya and Max fight, I'm really intrigued for Bilal and Shavkat. My second most intriguing matchup is Merab and Umar. That's the fight. Sorry, Figgy, not sorry. You do not deserve it yet. Because, I mean, simply everyone wants to, like, pull up the resumes. If you want to compare all of Figgy's performances, not one of those did he look as dominant as Umar did against Corey Sandhagen. And that, you know, that's where I'm at with that. And it was clear that's where the UFC was at with it, because they had Joe Rogan throwing hints of Umar in the commentary, and then they brought him up to Merab. I was kind of surprised they didn't bring him in the ring, honestly.
Yeah, I thought that was what was going to happen.
They probably would have, but they were running out of time because Merab was going 30 minutes in on his you know, post interview.
Post-fight speech.
He earned every second of it, though. Like, you get that done, talk your shit. And it was really interesting because the way it lighted up, because of the backdrop, you could see an unnormally amount of fans' faces. And everyone, like, when I noticed that during rewatch, and I just enjoyed it even more. Because, like, you literally see everyone's disdain for the fight and, oh, this isn't going the way it is. And I mean, that's why I love this fucking sport. I mean, other people hang that as a negative, but, you know, that's them, not me.
I'm with you. I agree. Like when the lighting changed, and I think they had like those 180 funny cameras where you could see like the really wide scope. You could see everybody's face was like and it was kind of one of those cringe moments. But like Rob said, bro, he went out there and he did. And you said it, Botkins. Some people will straight wipe it all Marab. I'll give Sean when Sean got when he after he kissed his back, Sean was like, "All right, I got to touch you now. I don't care how bad my shoulder hurts." But so I give him one fight. But he went out there and he fought his fight. We don't know him for anything else, and he did exactly what we know him for. And then
letting him go.
Yeah,
was like the best part of the fight.
Yeah, and he thought that the round was over, and the ref was just telling him stop kissing his back. Like that's
the exact words afterwards were, "That's your fault. You shouldn't have been kissing him."
Yeah,
like that was so on point.
Right, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But to me, if you think about that, the Rob kissing his back, no choke, no nothing. Then we go backwards a little further to Henry Cejudo being carried around like a toddler. If you really think those are two, like I can do anything moments. You know what I mean? Like
demoralizing moments.
Right. Yeah. Like, okay, Max Holloway pointing at the ground and swinging it out. That's Max Holloway. But Marab picking you up, carrying you like a baby, or kissing your back. That's another one. So he's growing in my mind on that one. So shout out to Rob on those two moments for sure.
Real quick, to me, I think the bigger question is what's next for Sean O'Malley, or who's next for Sean O'Malley. There's a couple guys out there. Corey Sandhagen makes perfect sense. Like that's the fight everybody kind of wants to see. I think that's a good fight for him. Don't give him a wrestler, maybe him and Figgy, but Figgy's kind of a little bit of a wrestler. I mean, it's going to be a while. Sean says he's done probably till next summer. Bobby, who do you think is next for the former champ?
Well, it's kind of interesting depending on how he plays his cards, because Umar has pretty much already said when he beats Merab, if he beats Merab, he would give O'Malley a rematch afterwards.
Yeah, that's what Ali said. That his manager said that. I saw.
I mean, Ali's all about that money. That's why Ali said that.
Yeah.
Realistically, if I take the title out of it, who's next for him? I'm probably gonna have an answer that it's tricky because I kind of want to match Jan up with Figgy. I think that should be the fight. But if they don't go in that direction, I would love to see O'Malley Jan too. And they could I really it'd be a good fight for him to get back, and I'm sure that would get Jan up too. But most likely I think they're gonna book Figgy and Jan because I think the UFC is gonna make Figgy do one more. So him taking the next 10 months off is probably the best because he can kind of see how the division settles and go from there. But
they tried to, according to Corey, they tried to do him and Figgy in December, and Figgy said no. Before
UFC ain't gonna like that.
Yeah. Before you go, I was going to ask you too. Is maybe the possibility of 145 in the future of Sean O'Malley instead of a 135?
Hey man, you hit the nail on the head. In my opinion, Sean O'Malley did his thing, man. He had a long reign, right there where he. Now I'm not going to say where he belonged, but where he started off at, right there, bantamweight. In my mind, he's growing as not only as a fighter, but as a man. And we've seen it in several other sports. When you get to that comfortable weight where you don't have to cut as much, you don't have to lose as much strength, so much muscle density, maybe that affects how he fights. And we see him at 145 and he goes up after a year, maybe a year and a half off. Maybe we see him around this time in 2025 do something crazy. Maybe he takes on something like a Brian Ortega or Josh Emmett just to see how he feels. And all of a sudden, now we got something to worry about at feather. I in my wildest dreams, and this y'all hold on, let me hit it. I see the BMF title exchanging hands, and then by next year he goes for the BMF title. That is what I'm thinking is more his feet. I don't want to see him wrestle. I don't want to see him get wrestled. I want to see like him and somebody who's going to like make it exciting and it'd be a BMF title style fight. Justin Gaethje, Brian Ortega, who we just saw, take a little bit of an L. I want to see something like that in a year. But if we're talking close, he comes back after surgery. You said Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen sounds cool to me. That's definitely like a stylistic matchup. Where they're not gonna go out there and wrestle the crap out of each other. Maybe if you go down, I wouldn't put him past 7. So it's no reason I would put him in there with Cheeto again. And Figgy, maybe, but definitely to like what jumps out right there is Corey Sandhagen. And if Sandhagen moves up in 3 or 4 by the time that happens, then that'll be like a title elimination fight. But for me, my money is on him resting, recovering from surgery, taking some time off, and realizing, man, look, I can do 145, and I only got to cut 9-10 pounds, and I'm strong as hell, and my reach is still good, and I'm still knocking guys out. Why don't I just stay here and run it up? So who knows? But I like him moving up a weight class when he comes back.
I'd be pretty surprised if he did do that. The only reason I'd want to see him do that, ironically, would be to fight Aljo again. Like if he wants
to chasing Aljo.
Do that or something. But I personally think Sean's plan when he gets back will be get his title back. And he definitely could easily put on an extra 10, and that might help him. But it's not really his issue in the Merab fight. It was his grappling. And I think he's just gotta keep working at that. And he got up quite a bit. I thought there was going to be a scenario where very well he could not get up. And, he was able to, use the fence to get up a few times. And
can I say this?
Yeah.
I think, and this is just me, I think that was a bit of gamesmanship from Merab, because it would have, it was at least twice. It looked like Merab was like, okay, let's do something else. It really, to me, at least twice. Third round, one of them times in the third round, Merab was looking down at him like, okay, get up and let's do something. Let me give you an opportunity.
Allows that. He'll let you get up just to take you down again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looked like I can't believe you're not trying. I think Merab recognized that he was hurt by how he was portraying himself in the ring. Watkins mentioned it. He looked a little sluggish, and I think Merab was like, "Come on, you don't want to do this," and he let him up 3 times.
Yeah, I just felt like O'Malley looked sluggish all night from the jump. Just something about his energy. I just felt like he was off.
Yeah, it wasn't his usual self, especially when they had, hit the "you and you are what you say."
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, I felt like it was off. But person that wasn't off was Shevchenko. Chevy gets her belt back. What do you think what is next for the champ? There's a lot of talk of Wei Lee moving up and doing the super fight. Bobby obviously likes that fight. I think so too. And what's kind of next for Alexa Grasso, the former champ, is she needs to try to get one back, tries to get the belt back.
I'm with the whole super fight, Wei Lee, Shevchenko, brawl for it all. You know what I'm talking about? Because these are this is probably getting close to the end of Shevchenko's reign in the UFC in my mind. She's been around a while. She's taken some really tough lumps, and she took a draw that some of us think that she didn't deserve. But like right about now is right around that time when, hey, the bell, the sound of the bell is just a little different, and she's thinking of an escape plan, not an exit plan or an escape plan, but just to bow out gracefully. And a fight with Zhang Wei Li, who is in my mind like an equal. We do a catch weight, or she just comes up straight up,
She'll
goes
just
out
be straight up.
yeah, just come straight up, straight up. Yeah, if she just comes straight out to fly, then man, we put two and two together, man. We make some fireworks with that one in my mind.
Yeah, I mean that's about the only person, Bobby, to me that she hasn't like in her era that she hasn't ever faced. Right? She fought Amanda, and it was a close draw. They never rebooked that fight for another time. And here it is. Can we do this? Wei Lee, I guess, would be the last person. Maybe Thug Rose would be in there as well. But I mean, shoot, she could almost fight Rose. It's in that weight class now. So, but it seems like two people. Those are the two legends, I guess you could say, of her era that she hasn't fought.
Yeah, bro, you hit the nail on the head. She hasn't backed down. She never turns away from a good fight. But when you think about these last rides, some of these fighters don't get to go out on their own terms. Maybe this is one of the situations where she goes, "I want this one. This is somebody I haven't faced yet, and it's a challenge. It's not just a walk in the park, and it's a challenge. It'll be worth something. She's already stamped a ticket into the UFC Hall of Fame for sure in my mind. That'll be one where okay, I'm walking out gracefully. So I definitely go with the Wei Lee joint.
I want them to do one better. I want them to do that fight in China.
Woo!
This is why, if the draw in the last match showed me anything, it's that we absolutely did not need to see the Grasso rematch again. I mean, granted, they had to do it, but I was baffled at how ill prepared she was.
Yeah.
Grasso.
It was clean sweep.
From the last fight that she found the wrestling, and that's why she got the better. So you figured that's all she'd be training, but instead of trying to get up, she got. I wouldn't say she got close, but she did have some submission attempts, but she never used it to get back up. And I think Valentina went in there and said, "Okay, chip on her shoulder." Saying I should already be the champion. She feels like she got dicked over because it was Mexican Independence Day last year. They did a run back again at the Sphere, pretty much all setting Alexa up. And she said, "Nah, y'all must have forgot." And I think she made it a point to make that fight as long as possible. And normally, where I'd poo-poo on massive grappling, when I had time to look back at it, I think it really was a fitting ending to that trilogy, especially when you look at how the other fight went. But as far as what's next, since Tatiana Suarez is apparently booked, I think this is the best opportunity to do the Wei Li fight. You run it in China, so Valentina will feel that same type of disdain of, oh, you're going to do, and we're going to get a pretty good fight. Granted, they can do it anywhere else. China always kind of has to be in the card in certain things. But I would make an event out of it. Not like they did Noche, but, not make it some throwaway co-main eventer in Utah either.
We like Utah.
That was not a shot at Utah or the co-main event. It's just an example of how that card got booked.
Yeah. I think for Grasso, you could do Meniere Frio. She was the backup fighter while she waits. While the winner of that fight waits for the Wei Li Shevchenko fight.
A tough night in the office. After the last one.
Yeah. Let's get to, I want to get you guys' thoughts. Diego Lopez gets the big win over Brian Ortega. Is a title fight next for Lopez? Like I told you guys, I was excited for that fight. And I mean, he almost got Ortega out of there in the first 30 seconds. Ortega survives, but Lopez wins. Does he need one more, Diego, or is it title? That featherweight is so stacked. I could see, it seems like Volk is next after Max and Ilya. Um, do you do Diego and Yair, or does Diego doesn't seem like the type to sit out for a long time, Bobby. He started I think this was like his fifth fight in a calendar year. What do you think's next for Mr. Diego Lopez?
Well, it ain't fighting Mastervoff or
Yeah, yeah.
credit to Diego for that. Like, no, you had your chance, and he hit him with some good lines. What's next for him? I would really love the Volk fight, and I think this is a fight that Volk, because they simply tell Volkanovski, you win this, you're back, you get a title shot, and same thing with Diego. I could totally see Volkanovski being within his right to hold out until after Max and Ilya happens. But realistically, with how I have that fight summed up, I don't think that will make a difference. So I think he's better off taking a fight. And that looks like a great moment of, old man Volk being able to remind us who he is, And I think that's the best fight to give Volk if it's not for a title fight. And I think that's a fight that Diego would take as well. But I don't think he's taking anyone under him. I would like the Yair fight, but I don't think it should be next for him by any means.
What about you? What about what's next for Mr. Diego?
I'm in a similar space. It's more like after Ilya and Max, where do we go for at 1 and 2? So somehow, some way, of course, Diego slides up. Let's say if Ilya takes Max, right? So then it's nothing but Volk and Diego at 1 and 2. Max probably goes down to 3 or 4. Yair Rodriguez slides up to 3, and then we get a title eliminator, maybe between either Diego Lopez or Yair. But like I think it's to a degree. You guys hit the nail on the head. Where I don't think Diego fights down; he fights up, and that would really just leave Volk the availability. But
is Volk fighting? I don't think Volk's gonna get another. I don't think Volk needs to fight somebody before he gets a rematch. He was a long-standing featherweight champion. He was active.
One.
No, I think you give him right back in there.
I think he does if Ilya is still the champion.
But if it's Max, you don't think they don't do him and Max 4?
Yeah, I could totally see them booking Max and him, and that could very well be why Volk holds out for sure. And yeah, he definitely is in his right to a rematch. I personally, because of how his last 2 fights have ended, would like him to have a fight that isn't Ilya Topuria next. I think the worst thing he could do is run that back. I mean, he was having success in the beginning, but it's good that he's taken the time. So it's going to really not make too much of a difference if he extends it to next year. But, who's to say that Diego Lopez isn't now the backup fighter for Abu Dhabi?
Quick turnaround, but quick turnaround. That's only in 2 months' time.
Did he take enough damage for that? No.
I mean, he did turn it around. What he fought Dan Ige 2 months ago it went in June, so it's not that. That's kind of on par for Diego.
He would do it.
Yeah, he is a savage. Yeah,
he definitely would do it though. I believe that.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I just want Ortega needs to go up to 155.
He is. Ortega, I think, is headed to 155. It's already pretty much.
Yeah, he's kind of already hinted at that because he's saying the weight cuts at his age are getting harder.
I mean, I think he did a pretty decent job of gaining that second win and not getting finished, but there was really very little opportunities for him, and I really fail to see what challenges would intrigue him at 145 to with 55, he's got a bunch. Hell, give me Dan Hooker and Ortega. Like I know everyone's trying to grab the Dan Hooker sweepstakes lately, but hey, give it to the guy who ain't even in the fucking
Dan.
Yeah, I mean him and Beneil Dariush would be all right. Like just somebody like that, I think, kind of off the jump, like somebody in that top, 10 for sure. Speaking of 155, late Friday night, we get the breaking news that the 155, the co-main event at the Madison Square Garden, will none other than be Charles Oliveira, Mr. DuBronx, in a rematch against who? Mr. Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is giving up the red panty night to fight Charles Oliveira in a rematch. He said he is tired of waiting on Conor. Now, Conor has fired back and said he has been left in the dark. Give him his damn date. Dana did say when Conor does come back, Chandler's probably still going to be his opponent. Maybe. But, I mean, if he loses to Charles Oliveira, I mean, this is... I don't feel sorry for anybody. I don't know this doesn't make it makes somewhat sense for Chandler to say I'm done waiting on Conor, but if you lose to Charles, you're probably not going to get the red panty night, and I don't know if I don't think Conor's ever coming back. I've been on record saying that. But does get the co-main. Remember, these two fought for the title back in 2021. It was an entertaining fight, but I believe Oliveira won that fight in the second round. And knocked him out. Wait, your thoughts here on Michael Chandler changing course and no longer getting the red panty night?
About freaking time, bro. I'm saying, like, okay, I'm gonna compare it to this. As a young man, I was so enamored with the thought of finally drinking white Hennessy. If anybody knows me, I love brown liquor, but you can't get white Hennessy unless you're going on a cruise, you're going overseas. After years and years of waiting, I finally got some white Hennessy, and I was like, it ain't all that. Like, what was I waiting for? I waited for this. I could have been doing this 20, 30 times over. I feel like, the air got let out of the balloon the last time. You know what I mean? We had a tough series where they were going at it, and, everything looked like it was a goal that we got to win. Nah, man. So now my whole point is I want to see Michael Chandler fight someone. Do I want to see Conor McGregor? I do. I really do. But the cards don't lie. It's not happening. The money is too good. He's talking about conversations with Turkey Al Sheikh for this and that. But he could do anything else but fight right now, in my opinion. And the urge that you get when you're broke and you're hungry and you're fighting for your last meal, you're trying to pay for your family to get out of the hood or wherever it is in Ireland, I'm sure that is what drove him before. Does he feel like that now? No. So
I don't go get punched in the face when you wake up in satin sheets.
There you go. But it's tough. It's tough. We as fight fans are clamoring to see Conor McGregor bring that fire to the ring, but at the same time, the cards don't read that he's going to be available. And it's unfortunate. But Michael Chandler and DuBronx, I'll take that.
Bobby, I see you chopping at the bit. Go ahead.
Feel free to cut me off at any time because I feel a ranting coming.
Go ahead.
Okay. First, let's talk Chandler first. Okay. Literally, when you said it, it just occurred to me that this fight was actually going to be at 155 pounds. Because for the longest time, we were like, oh, yeah, he's fighting Conor at 170, maybe 185. Who knows?
You do what you're told.
And in the end, Michael Chandler did what he was told. Dana White came to him and said, hey, we need to make a shitty co-main event. Can you fight Charles Oliveira? They'll probably give him pay-per-view points off the John Jones thing. So though it won't be red panty night, he will be compensated. And in his mind, if he can win it, he can get a title shot.
Yeah,
But-
Charles is number 2. So
Yeah. Now, in Planet Reality, I do not see a scenario where he can get it done. I'm sorry. You are talking about a man that has been sitting on the sidelines for 2.5 years.
his last fight was
Conor
at
McGregor.
MSG against Dustin Poirier 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years ago.
He's been waiting to fight Conor McGregor. Now he is actually fighting someone not only ranked, but extremely highly ranked. Oh, and just by the way, it's someone that already beat the shit out of him.
And a guy who has beaten who has the UFC record for submissions.
I was just about to say, and a guy who damn near wrestles almost better than you, or than he thinks he does.
Granted, if he knows that ain't gonna happen soon, you gotta do it. But I was on record saying that he should have pulled the cord when the fight first got canceled. And in regards to Conor fighting, I think we're getting a little bit of fugazi here. I personally think this is all Dana White pushing it back until April when they had their TV rights deal. You saw Jeff Bezos, or whatever the Amazon dude is at the Sphere, he's going to sell the Conor package exclusively to a streaming service or something.
Ooh,
the fact is, if he
Prime?
fought before the end of the year, they would only have one fight left on Conor's deal. This way, they can say, hey, we have a guaranteed 2 Conor fights, and we can also give you the Abu Dhabi cards or something. But they're just setting themselves up to have a multi-package, and Conor has no problem taking the grunt of it, because guess what? Like you guys said, Conor is paid, but he's waiting to get paid again, and that will definitely be happening. Now, if you still think he is fighting Michael Chandler, I have some sand to sell you, because that fight is not happening.
Yeah.
I think realistically, we are getting either Dustin Poirier 4 or 3.
It'd be 4. It'd be 4. Yeah.
We either get Dustin Poirier 4 or we get the Nate Diaz trilogy.
Oh my God.
I think those 2 will probably be his last fights that they can, sell to Amazon or anyone. They'll pay buku dollars because, I mean, look at the shit they're paying for now. And it's a win-win for everyone except for Michael Chandler, who wasted 2 years of his prime to fight Charles Oliveira. Now, he can make me completely eat my words by winning and getting a fight with Islam, but, I'm not trying to shit on the guy too much. All that's really doing is getting you a title fight. This whole idea of American wrestling over Dagestani wrestling, sorry, I would pick Islam and probably bet my house on it. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I do think Conor fights again. I do not think it will be until after April of 2024, because that's when the right deals are up.
25.
And Chandler kind of did it to himself, but at the same time, I think he will make the right decision, because what he is doing is he is giving the fans something. A lot of fans want to see Charles Oliveira, and the fact of the matter is, I think he could lose the Oliveira fight and still have a lot of options for him. So by that, good for him, but
Well, yeah, he's still got a lot of options, because you look at it. Chandler's he beat Dan Hooker, fought for the title against Charles, beat Tony Ferguson, lost Gaethje, or he might have lost to Gaethje after before the Tony fight. I can't remember. And then lost to Dustin Poirier. And then he hasn't fought anybody. So now he's refighting Charles again.
Gotta fight him.
And if anything, it will continue his stock to being one of those type of guys. Obviously, he's going to have this game plan of throwing everything in the kitchen sink as long as he's in there. So it will be entertaining and it will get cheers. But, everyone's shitting on the main event of that card. I think the co-main event is just a slap in the face. And that ain't a power slap ad. It's literally just like, come on. Like, we've already seen this. Like,
Yeah.
can't you do something else? And the answer is no.
No.
Yeah, the main event for the people is John Jones versus Stipe has been officially announced and ready to go. See if we'll get there in November. Tom Aspinall is allegedly going to be the backup. Before we get out of here, though, Whit, you did sit down and watch the Canelo fight. You watched a little bit of that. You said on Saturday night. What's next for Canelo? I mean, he handled business like we all thought he would. But what is next for Mr. Canelo Alvarez?
All right. So for those who don't know, Saturday night at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas was Mexican Canelo Alvarez night, and of course the fight was crazy. The event had every star that you didn't see at the Sphere was basically at the MGM Grand. Three things I want to throw out there, and then I'm just we're just going to keep it funky. Caleb Plant, let's keep your eyes on Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant went out there and gave Trevor McCumbee something to go home and write about. A lot of the conversation that took place at the pre-fight presser with Caleb Plant and Trevor McCumbee was about McCumbee wanting to move up in the ranks and fight a real fighter, but he said that Caleb Plant wasn't a real fighter. If you get a chance to look at it, Caleb Plant shows you why he's Caleb Plant. You don't want to try Caleb Plant backstage because he will slap you. You don't want to try Caleb Plant in the ring because he will find a way to beat you. I do like Caleb Plant stock going up. Danny Garcia with Erslandy Lara. My man Erslandy Lara went in there and made Danny Garcia quit in the corner in the 9th round of a 12-round fight. I very rarely talk negatively about fighters. And when I say I don't talk negatively about fighters. I mean, I'm not going to say that he was, weak. He couldn't do it. He pulled through. We don't know what was going on with Danny Garcia, but whatever happened, it happened, and it looked as though you could have pulled through. You could have did more. You could have gave it your all, whatever. We say that because we're watching it. But to see a guy literally, with his corner man going, nah, I'm not going. That's not happening. Nah, I'm not going back out there. And they was like, you sure? You can do. No. And boop, towel goes in, and that's it. We very rarely, especially on a night as big as it was on a card, like a pay-per-view card, it's going to be very hard for Danny Garcia to bounce back from this one if he doesn't call it quits in his career. And then last but not least, the main event, Canelo Alvarez, Saul Canelo Alvarez for most, against Edward Berlanga, the Puerto Rican Poppy versus the Mexican Nightmare. I mean, Canelo looked good. Canelo looked clean. Canelo looked like Canelo. But I want to say this, and I just want everybody to hear me out. Berlanga was not going to be a hoe for Canelo like Jaime Munguia, because somehow, some way, he still found a way to box. Yeah, he got knocked down 2 or 3 times, but he wasn't in there scared. He showed his heart. A lot of people have been saying Canelo doesn't want to fight Benavidez because of the rehydration clause. If y'all saw Berlanga was huge. Berlanga was huge in the ring compared to Canelo. But Canelo still skill set wise, agility wise, to me, I haven't seen someone like, how they say roll with the punches. I haven't seen punches being rolled on like that if that person's name ain't Floyd Mayweather. And Canelo has that down pat, and there's nothing else that you can say about it. But I love the fact that Edward Berlanga went in there, and even when Canelo got a little dirty, hit him in the rib a couple times. You know what Berlanga did? Bend all the way down and headbutt him in the chin. You know why? Because I'm not a hoe. Stop playing me. I know you got all the money. I know I'm fighting for you, but you're not going to hit me in my rib cage when we get separated. That's happening. That's happening too much. Jaime Munguia, I believe, was a victim of that as well. But Jaime Munguia loves Canelo so much and Canelo even held him up at least twice in that fight against Jaime Munguia. And you know that kind of helped them get all the way to the 12th round. Canelo did not let Jaime Munguia fall, but he did take out Berlanga, and Berlanga fought through. But this was one of those fights where, and I'm gonna try to keep it short now that I got that far. This is one of those fights where if you thought it was going to be a decisive fight, like, you know, Canelo was going to get him finished, it wasn't going to make it to 12 rounds. That is not what happened. Somehow, some way, I think we're coming to the precipice of where somebody's going to be asking for a Canelo fight, and these next one or two have to happen, because out of nowhere we got to see what goes on with the paperwork that Turki Al-Sheikh has said was delivered to Canelo's people, which Canelo already made claim that he knows he got it, but he was focusing on Berlanga first, you know. And then Turki Al-Sheikh was at the Sphere with not Kendrick Lamar. That was not Kendrick Lamar, people. No, that was by no means was that Kendrick Lamar. That was Bud motherfucking Crawford sitting next to Turki Al-Sheikh.
Oh shit! I thought they was not like us, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, you're right. Nah, that was Bud Crawford, ladies and gentlemen, Nebraska's own, sitting with Turki Al-Sheikh. And I think they did that, even though they got the names wrong. I think they did that on purpose. They wanted to get that shot of Turki and Bud talking, because they knew Canelo's going to win this fight. They know that. But who is he going to fight next? What's going to happen? But Turki Al-Sheikh has the paper in his last pay-per-view that Riyadh season hosted in LA. He said for sure there's no way that Canelo does not have that paperwork. Okay, so he has to make a choice, because the stock about unification bouts for him is not going to be very high at all, in my opinion. So is he going to do the Mexican Giant fight? I don't know. I don't know, but he has to be aware that Bud Crawford is waiting. You know what I mean? And that's where we're sitting at right now. Oh, wait, and but I know we're getting ready to go. Don't forget, this weekend is where we finally get to see the return of one of the heavyweights that we have been talking about, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, on the 21st at 2:00 in the afternoon. I know that's a really weird time.
Under the radar.
I know that's a really weird time. Well, yeah, we weren't really necessarily waiting for that one, but that's the next big heavyweight fight, which, of course, the next one after that is Usyk and Fury in December. So don't forget about us and the IBF World Heavyweight title, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Shout out to Tapology, my people out there. Follow me on Instagram. And that is a big one too. So let's pay attention to some boxing.
See the numbers on the Canelo fight?
I did not see the numbers on the Canelo fight.
So
I will have to take a look at it.
Unfortunately, they were very good.
And that's one of the points.
Unfortunately, is I think the success of that event
it's not gonna make him want to do the
exactly. He's gonna be like, "Fuck you, Turki Al-Sheikh. I can run my own thing. I can fight these whoever the fuck I want. I don't need to fight Benavidez. I don't need to fight Crawford because I am Canelo." And I am so tired of that bullshit.
Listen, you, me, the public who want to see exciting fights. Unfortunately, a guy by the name of Floyd Mayweather put that paperwork down 10 years ago, and now Canelo is following it to the T.
Yeah, Canelo's turning into Floyd Mayweather, the man he once hated. You know what I mean? Which is funny.
Mexican Mayweather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy. And I know it was real. I live in a residential neighborhood. My neighbors were partying till 4 in the morning. Okay, 4 in the morning. When trash day happens, sometimes you look at other people's trash. There was several big cases of Coronas over there. They were having a ball when Canelo won. I heard them in my house. I know they was doing the dang thing. Like, that's what makes Canelo. We got a chance to see, 2 Hispanic fighters on the weekend of the Mexican historic evening, and we were thinking that they was going to be stopped by the UFC. No, Canelo proves his point again, especially when you throw him in the driver's seat of a night, kind of headlined by something that has to do with anything that has to do with Hispanic fighters, or a night such as this, which I think Hispanic Heritage Month is this month. Is it next month?
This month.
Real quick, that's the icing on the cake.
Real quick before we get out of here, Anthony Joshua handles business on Saturday.
I'm putting it on. I'm putting it on that one to be a real close one. Anthony Joshua handles business, but if it gets past 9-10, it gets scary. Dubois is one of those guys who I want to say is like if we're old enough. If you remember old George Foreman didn't even swing hard, but made people fall. It didn't look very, Anthony Joshua swings, his back flexes. It looks like he's about to, blow a man's head off. But Dubois, it's something in how he swings, especially with his body punches. It doesn't look like he's trying very hard, but he takes guys down, and that could possibly happen. But Anthony Joshua is too skilled of a fighter. I think we got Joshua by decision by the end of the night.
I'm really excited to see how the first couple rounds of that fight go.
You got to dress for success, bro. Check me out. That's what we're doing. Assalamu alaikum to everybody at Riyadh season.
What up?
Season show.
What's that supposed to mean? Not me, not you, Nick, not you. Bob, you said you like Joshua to win too.
Yeah, no, I think he would definitely get it done. I'm just kind of interested to see how the first few rounds go, because granted, his last boxing fight was unusual to say the very least to him. Even if he had the success in it, getting back there and fighting an actual boxer, that is quite a shakeup. So I do have him winning, but I also think it will be semi-competitive and enjoyable to watch. And considering there ain't no UFC in town, it sounds like that's going to be the get down for the weekend.
Definitely. So check out the Anthony Joshua fight. Check out us next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, right here. Whit, you're going to have to hit that outro and end the stream. So for my guy Whit, Bobby, I'm Bodkins. It's been another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. We'll catch you next week. We'll talk a little bit of that, the Anthony Joshua fight. Plus, we'll look at the UFC Perry fight. Headline. Yeah, headlined by our guy BSD versus Moncano, Money Moncano.
And not Cyril Gahn, who is
Cyril Gahn. Please
Co-main's
no.
good too. Co-main's good too. Iman versus my guy Allen.
Yeah,
right? That
I like
whole
that
card stacked, and I took Allen in my fantasy MMA draft, so I'm super excited for that fight. I also took Lazy Boy, so that first round scared the shit out of me because it looked like he was going to sleep. But fortunately, we grinded out the W.
Amen to that. Hey, we always grind it out here on Headkicks and Haymakers. Whit, hit that outro. We'll catch you here right back next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. See y'all.
Peace.